Good morning. Welcome again to this discussion on wisdom. Wisdom for everyday living, practical wisdom, transformational wisdom, wisdom that affects your relationships. And that is our journey. Today we're looking at Proverbs chapter 1, verse 24 to verse 26. And this is wisdom speaking. And you know, when you look through the book of Proverbs and you read through the book of Proverbs, you discover that wisdom is actually a person and is actually a personality. And she says that I've called to you over and over. Still you refuse to come to me. I've pleaded with you again and again, yet you've turned a deaf ear to my voice. Because you've laughed at my counsel and have insisted on continuing in your stubbornness, I will laugh when your calamity comes and will turn away from you at the time of your disaster. Make a joke of my advice, will you? Then I'll make a joke out of you. So wisdom is just telling us about the need to agree with her. You know, just come into agreement, come into engagement with her. Many times when wisdom is trying to speak and trying to communicate to us, our ears are not inclined to the voice of wisdom. We are not inclined to the way wisdom has presented herself. Wisdom is always speaking. I think the last week or 1 or 2 weeks ago, we talked about how wisdom, stands at the gates and calls out. Wisdom is calling from the high places. Wisdom is calling out from different places. Because wisdom is always speaking. The problem is, are you hearing and are you inclining your ear to wisdom? One of the things about wisdom is that wisdom is speaking to us through people. You know, wisdom is speaking to us through situations. Wisdom sometimes speaks to us even through creation. As we journey through the book of Proverbs, Proverbs tells us to go to the ant and consider the ant. Proverbs talks to us about, the lion that struts with pride and sits as the king over everything that it governs. Wisdom talks to us about different things and implores us to look at creation and begin to receive from creation what wisdom has to offer. But the key thing here is we need to develop a teachable spirit if we are going to learn from wisdom. Sometimes wisdom talks to you through your children. Sometimes wisdom talks to you through your parents. Sometimes wisdom talks to you through your peers. We need to develop a teachable spirit if we are to walk in wisdom. One of the people here that wisdom is addressing, or the person that wisdom is addressing here wisdom says that you laughed at my counsel. And because you laughed at my counsel, when disaster comes, I will also rejoice. If we laugh at the counsel of wisdom, then disaster will definitely come. We need to give a hearing voice to wisdom. We need to develop a teachable spirit. What does it mean to have a teachable spirit? I just have 3 points. Mambo ni matatu. I just have 3 points here for a teachable spirit. A teachable spirit means that you're always willing to learn. You're always willing to learn something new, to do something different, because inside of you there's that desire for knowledge. There's that hunger to learn. There's that hunger to do new things. You never come to a place where you say it is enough. A teachable spirit means that you're willing to be corrected. You are never too proud to listen to what others have to say. You know, when I was studying through the book, or was journeying through the book of Proverbs, I began to ask myself, am I willing to be corrected? Am I willing to listen to what others have to say? Or am I always having to put up a fight for what I believe is right, or always having to put up a fight for my stance? And sometimes you know that your stand is wrong, but you'll never really be willing to listen to somebody else's instruction. You'd rather defend your territory and defend your turf rather than listen to what somebody has to say. Wisdom is willing to be corrected. And the third thing about having a teachable spirit is that it means you're willing to listen to the least of these. Sometimes God speaks to us through babes. Sometimes God speaks to us through children. Sometimes God speaks to us through people who are generations younger than us. Are you willing to listen to God speaking to you through them? I urge you today to agree with the voice of wisdom. As you go about your day, listen to where wisdom is speaking to you. Sometimes that wisdom may be a business idea. Sometimes that wisdom may be change the way you're doing your things. Sometimes that wisdom may be honor your wife or honor your children. Sometimes that wisdom may be give, take an offering and just give to somebody who's poor, somebody who lacks. And you might find that that becomes the key that unlocks the door to your breakthrough. Wisdom is always speaking. Are you agreeing with the voice of wisdom? Father, I pray today that we would listen to the voice of wisdom. We would listen intently to what wisdom has to say, and we would hear wisdom speaking to us through creation, through relationships, through circumstances and situations, and that, Lord, we would give heed to the voice of wisdom. Thank you this morning because you give us a teachable spirit. You give us an adaptable heart. You give us the willingness to learn, the willingness to be learned from others, the willingness to be corrected, that we would continually grow in the wisdom of God. We bless you and honor you for the spirit of wisdom in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.